Lindy, I wanted to ask you about the play of John Marino through these playoffs. He's been handling some really tough minutes, making plays, and just been a really steady guy. Can you speak to his evolution and what he's meant to your club in this postseason in particular?
Yeah, well, he's been a guy that all year long has, pulled the assignment of the other team's top lines, and um, I think on the other side of it, he's been able to, get involved offensively, like we saw in the second goal. But the key is, playing the big minutes, keeping the other team's top lines at bay, and he's done a real good job.
When he was first acquired, from what you knew about him, is this what you expected, or have you really seen an evolution in him?
Well, didn't know a lot about him. Understood what his game was like, but I think as the year went on, I think understand how he plays and how good a defender and some of the puck plays he makes that makes him a guy that you can play in all situations.
Lindy, after looking back on it, I know it's going to be a physical series, but did you think that they maybe got away with some penalty or some things that they might have been called penalties on? Jack hit in the face.
Yeah, I think they missed a couple for sure. I mean, they missed the stick on Jack, but that happens in a game. I don't think that was the major factor in our loss, but I think that there was a couple that. But there's a couple, like I thought, in the previous series too.
Lindy, how's Timo today?
Timo's okay. He's still day-to-day with upper body.
And, with his play style, do you think that that's just one of those things that, if and when he comes back in this series, that can really work well against this Kings team?
Well, I think we all know his size and strength. He's a big man. He added a quality that, we didn't have a lot of. But at the same time, you got to get by with players that aren't in the lineup. Another guy's got to step in and fill a spot.
The importance of a better start tomorrow night, Lindy?
Very important. I thought, you can call it you got a Game 7 hangover. You can call it a tough turnaround. Not a lot of time in between. We all know, hugely emotional game that I thought we brought everything. So we got to get back to our game. And, I thought, we weren't on our toes early. They sensed it, and they kept us on our heels.
In talking with the players last night, and even you mentioned as well, there's a lot of respect for Carolina and the approach they take, the structure they have. Is there a fine line, though, between having too much respect and playing the style that, got you here?
Well, I think you have to understand what your opponent brings. I think you have to respect the fact they just beat out a team in 5 games. That's the respect you need to have for a team. And they finished ahead of us in the standings. I don't think that's too much respect. I think that's just respecting the fact that, throughout the year, they were a team that ended up higher in the standings than we were.
As poor as it went in the first, you had some chances in the second, and that puck could have went in there and made it a 1-goal game.
Yeah, we got to our game a lot better in the second period, but the slow start, obviously cost us. We had an opportunity on a power play that I think it matched our 5-on-5 play, and by the time we got to our game in the second period, it was a little bit too late.
You've now had Luke with the team for a month now. I'm curious what you've learned about him in that time, and what do you like about him?
I really like how he skates. Going back to the 2 games he played, just awareness on the ice, the ability to gap up and skate with people, he seemed comfortable with. But he seems real attentive when it comes to understanding how we need to play and what the NHL game is like.
So when you have someone that talented, is it hard to leave him in that situation? I know he just got here, but is it a difficult balancing act for you?
Well, I think you can always look at that opportunity to try a young player like that. Regular season is one thing. The playoff battle is another level up. It's something that can always be a consideration. you look at what our guys did on the back end to get through the 7 games with the Rangers. Got to give them a lot of credit for that, and we know that we have a couple players there, and in Smith and Hughes, that different qualities that can help us, though, and have been a part of our team.
Obviously, the playoffs are a different animal, but the numbers are down a bit compared to the regular season. I think it's a little over a goal or more a game that you're down, and then shots per game, it's about 7 or 8 down from the regular season. Do you think that might be trying to play more that defensive style? It's taking away offense?
I don't really think it has anything to do with it. And the numbers when we played against Shesterkin were incredible. So even looking at the last game where I thought we could have scored 5 or 6 in Game 7, and we end up with 3. I would like to see the decision to shoot more. We gave up the opportunities early in this game, and I referenced the ball play, the McLeod play. So there was some opportunities there to funnel more pucks or get pucks there. We didn't, and I think it has to be more of a focus.
Why do you think that was? Is it just an attitude of trying to be too cute? Why do you think?
I think too cute. So, I mean, there's a fine line there. You want to make hockey plays. You could argue that the Mike McLeod play and the winning goal against the Rangers was, if he shoots right away, he probably doesn't score, but he hung on to it. So, you got to make a hockey play.
Lindy, we talked a little bit about it last night, but what in playoff hockey has suited Mike McLeod's game so well?
Well, you have to play fearless, and he does. You got to be ready to put your body a lot of times in harm's way, which he does. And he's the type of player that'll get inside and be the guy that can be a top guy in all those categories.
One of the things that Jesper said after the game yesterday is that we need to be a little more blue collar when it comes to this next game. Do you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. I think they won more 50-50s. The puck battles, so you got to give to them. And when they win the puck battles, they get to create. If we win the puck battles, we either go the other way or we're out of our zone quicker. So give them a lot of credit. That is one of their things that they're really good at. We played them tough during the regular season. So, I'm hoping that the Game 7 and the turnaround, really had an effect on our team.
Lindy, you said it's a question for today. Is Akira your Game 2 starter?
That is a good question. I think that is a great question for today.
You did say that.
Yeah. I said it is a question. I said it is a good question for today.
Said he probably wouldn't give you an
And
answer
tomorrow
either.
also?
And tomorrow.
What did you like about Vitek when he entered the game yesterday?
Well, first, it wasn't really about Akira. I think, it was the way the game was going, and, it seemed like we were sluggish and behind the 8 ball. It was time to give him some playing time because we know he's been a big part of the team. And I thought he went in there and he made some good saves for us. And he needs to be ready because he's a guy that we, if you look at during the regular season, he had some big wins. The last game of the regular season was a shutout win against them. So both guys, all 3 of our goalies have been a big part of the reason why we're at.
And do you sense that if you needed to start Akira, he's okay? Because let's face it, he has started 7-8 straight games here in a pretty tense environments. So would he be ready to go?
He would be ready, yeah. This time of the year, everybody has to be ready.
Thanks, Lindy.
Johnny, throughout this whole playoff series, you've been really drawing some of the really tough matches. What do you appreciate about being given that opportunity to not only play those minutes, but to play against those top players?
Yeah, for sure. It's good. It's huge in every game. It's gonna be huge this series too. You just gotta go out there and go out there with gravy. And I thought we played well in the first series, and we want to match that in the second.
What do you like about that challenge?
You want to do everything you can to help your team win. Whether it's that or just doing the little things out there.
You have obviously some playoff experience. Just to talk about the highs and lows that you experienced during the playoffs from one game to the next and how you
I think we learned a lot about that in the first series. We don't want to get to that point again, go down 0-2 again for sure. But, there's so many highs and lows, and, you want to stay away from, what you see online, all the media and stuff like you guys. But you just want to go back to your game, go back to, what was the winning hockey we were playing.
Appreciate that, Johnny.
Yeah.
You guys did a lot of special things against the Rangers in that first
Yeah.
round. To have a lot of those special things taken away in this game one, how do you view that? Is it frustrating? Is it like, let's get back? Is it more motivation? How do you look at it?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a completely different series. I think we learned that in game one. Different teams, completely different style of game. And, we're going to have to change some things after game one here and, compete on pucks a lot harder. They play a different way, and just make those adjustments.
Have you taken anything from Dougie Hamilton since you've been here?
Yeah, for sure. Offensively, how often he's just able to, get pucks to the net and, little things like that. But, with a guy of that caliber, you kind of just learn from him and practice in the games every day.
It looked like you were, as a team, getting to your game in the second period. So tomorrow, how important is it to start when the puck drops to beat the Devils?
Yeah, that's huge. Lindy was saying today too. They're one of the best first period teams out there. So if we're able to hang up with them in the first period and play our game and everything like that, and then you get momentum for the second and third. So yeah, that's really important.
What's the press box? It looked like you were able to save a couple goals on the ice last night. Just curious how much of that is just knowing where the puck is, how much of that's luck, how much what?
I think it's a combination of everything. Definitely luck, definitely lucky to be in the right place at the right time, blocking shots. But a little bit of everything.
How much last night did you guys miss a player like Timo, a guy that can score from the dangerous areas and really be a pest to?
What was that?
For Timo, how much did you guys miss Timo?
Yeah, I know he didn't, obviously had the production he probably would have won in the first series, but just having his presence out there and the way how hard he plays the game out there, makes it really difficult. And the other team helps us out too, carry momentum, keep in zone possession, stay on top of him. So, he's a great player for us. And, he's been playing great for us. Yeah.
What's the most difficult part about playing a team who plays a similar style to you guys?
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like I said, it's just a completely different game than the first series. They're staying above us all the time, tracking back, doing all those little things too that we have to match and, in order to keep up with them.
Thanks, Johnny. Miles, just going back to last night, one of the things that Bratter said after the game is, we didn't maybe work hard enough. We didn't bring that blue-collar attitude. Is that something that you felt maybe was missing, maybe a bit of a hangover, as Lindy called it, from the intensity of Game 7?
I think, yeah, you can probably call it that. They're a very structured team. They compete very hard, and we knew that heading into the series. They're well coached. Their depth is insane. Even with two guys out, big players for them out. They're a great team, and last night was not our best, and we know that. We talked about it as a group this morning, and look for a bounce back tomorrow.
What's the biggest challenge of playing against a team who play a similar style and want to almost engage, what your strengths are in themselves, and you can do that, the vice versa?
Yeah, they haven't seen our best yet. I think, like what Bratter said, our compete on pucks wasn't exactly there. From a man to a man, we know we can give a lot more. And like I said, we just have to match their intensity. And because at home, it's a hostile environment, fans are in it. And, hope to bounce back tomorrow.
How quickly do you have to get to your game? You look like you got to it in the second period, but against that team in the first period, how quickly must you get to that game tomorrow?
We have to get to it at the drop of the puck. We can't wait around. It stung us in the first round, being down 2, and it stung us in the first game of round 2 here. They came out hot, and we came out flat, and it cost us. Lost 5-1. It stings, but as soon as the puck drops, all the guys that are out there have to be prepared to go to war.
What is the key to breaking that forecheck? What is the key to making that happen?
Yeah, they're like I said, they're a very structured team. They want to get the puck out of their defensive zone as fast as possible, whether that's a flip or a rim. They have two forwards that will blow the zone. They don't like to spend time there. It's hard to break down, yeah, because when we dump the puck in, the Ds are kind of already back there anticipating that. So we just got to be more connected as a group and hopefully get some stops.
Is this one of the harder forechecking teams you've played?
I would say they're hard. They're hard to get stops in the offensive zone. When we dump the puck in, we have to create more speed to get in there first and get first touches. But they're a structured group and they like to get pucks out as fast as they can.
You almost have to beat them in transition when you do get the puck out, meaning, okay, they're going to send everybody in, but you go the other way, you got to cash in on those.
For sure, yeah. We're a fast team. That's our strength. The transition game is huge for us to get pucks up to the forwards. And I thought last night we were a little slow in that department, and hopefully we can get back to our speed game.
Is there a fine line, Miles, between respecting what Carolina can do on the ice and wanting to get to your style of game?
Absolutely. They've been a great team all year long. We respect them as a team, but at the same time, they haven't seen our best yet, and we hope to get to that. And don't give them too much respect where we step off the gas, but we do respect them as a group, and we hope to match that next game.
Miles, with Timo out, how much pressure is there on players like you and players like Nathan, to really bring that physicality that Timo really brought in that first series?
Yeah, Timo's a great player. It's unfortunate that he's out, but it's next man up type mentality. The Hurricanes have two huge guys out too, and they played great. So that's no excuse for us to step back and use that as an excuse. It does hurt, don't get me wrong. Timo's a great guy, great player, and we hope that he's back as soon as he can. But for us, it's just playing our game, and we hope to do that tomorrow.
What goes through a player's mind when the goalie gets pulled?
It's not on the goalie. It was on us as players. You never want to see a goaltender leave the game after getting 4 shots in or 3 shots in or whatever it was. Schmido has been there for us all through round 1, and the way that we came out and played in front of him was not his fault. It was the forward's fault and the default. You just feel bad, and it's a wake-up call.
Is it part of you mentioned being flat, but is part of the mission tomorrow is get pucks to the net and make their goalie work?
For sure, yeah, we have to get more traffic to the net. The D have to shoot more, and the forwards have to, take his eyes away. It's hard to score goals in the playoffs, and that's exactly what we talked about this morning.
Miles, what has the last month or so looked like from your perspective, the scratches and then coming back in the lineup? You're playing well last night.
I've learned a lot throughout this process. I've never been scratched in my career, and it was a wake-up call. I had 2 penalties in the first 2 games that were big. They scored on both of their power plays, and I learned from it. Talked to the coaching staff about it, and it's time to move on and get back to my game.
Thanks, Woody. Sevi, what's the biggest challenge when you're playing a team who plays a similar style to what you guys play and probably would have wanted to look like last night?
Yeah, I think you're bang on there. They skated really well. Were all over us right from the start, and give them credit, they played well. For us, worrying about our game, we didn't play our best, and we'll have to sharpen up there. And I think a lot of their game is based on their speed and getting the puck out of their zone and wanting to play in the O-zone as much as possible. So, it's similar to us in a sense, but they can skate, and we can skate as well. So that's going to be a matchup we are have no issues with because of our speed and skill, but we just got to get to that sooner and better.
Is that about working a little harder?
little bit harder, a little bit smarter, a little more compete. Just little areas everywhere around kind of the game, execution, just little things that the quicker we are getting out of our zone and putting passes on tape and using our speed and just finding space, because we have that skill and the speed to create plays and make things happen when we do have that time and space, but they do a good job taking it away. So it's our job to find that and make sure lanes are opening for our players.
I don't know if it's a wake-up call, but I'm sure you know that by the drop of the puck tomorrow, you guys got to bring it.
Absolutely, yeah. We weren't ready to bring it last night, unfortunately, so they were, and they have hot starts in this building. That's something that's kind of they've been known for, so they come out, their crowd gets into it, and if we can kind of weather that storm, and kind of, no pun intended there with the hurricane, but weather that storm with our play and just playing smart hockey and not letting them get to their game right away, and we got to be on ours early.
You guys did a lot of special things in that first round series against the Rangers, and to see a lot of those things that you did well negated by what they were doing, is that a frustration? Is it motivation? How do you view it?
I don't think you can get too frustrated. They obviously scoped us out and watched some video and realized the things that we do well, and they were able to have an extra few days than we did, and there was no excuses for us. We're in a playoff series now. We got to make sure we're prepared, but we have to make sure we are able to bring that same level of energy and the same style of game, but it's every team presents something different, right? You kind of make adjustments on the fly, and we did with the Rangers, and we were able to beat them at 7, and now we got to make adjustments after game 1 here in Carolina, and they're going to make theirs as well. So there was a lot of things we did well in the game that we created a chance with and used our speed, but then there was other things that didn't look so good for us, and they're going to be happy with their play in that regard too. But for us, we just got to focus on what we can bring to weather their storm, and just find a way to beat their hard forecheck and get out of our zone. And we just have such talent that we can, when we play in their zone and use our skill, it just takes over, and you can see we can control the game.
Damon, what's it like for you to see a guy like Miles Wood get scratched last series and then rise and play well last game?
Yeah, our fourth line was probably our best line last game, and they scored our goal, and they were skating, they were on the body and on the forecheck. So I think for a guy like him, he's going to come back in and play the same way. I think it's out of the player's control or out of anybody's control who makes those decisions and whatnot. But for a guy like him, we know what he brings every night, and he brings that skill, that speed, that tenacity, and he's fun to watch when he's skating. And just you look at some of the fastest players in the league, and he's right up there with any of them on a straight line. So when he gets to his game, he's an effective player, and we're going to need that, especially from that line.
You mentioned beating their forecheck. I'm curious, what did you not do well in game 1, and what do you have to do in game 2?
It was 50-50. We just have to move the puck a little quicker, get back for pucks a little quicker as defense, and then the forwards just have to be there to support us. It's kind of cliche stuff, but they skated well. They were all over us, and when we're moving the puck quick out of our zone and getting open for each other is a huge thing as well. So again, we skate so well when we're on, and when the defensive team is having to try to keep up to us, we put them in a bit of a pickle. So we're just going to have to do that a little bit better as defensemen. Again, just get back for pucks, move the puck to our partners, move the puck to our forwards, and then get up in the rush and play in their zone. That's the most effective way to not have to break out.
Sounds like whatever they do, you've seen already from them during the season. You just got to bring your effort.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to say they're 100% predictable, because no one is, but for the most part, they are predictable, because you can see that the way they want to play, and they don't like to play in their own zone. They want to get the puck out as quick as possible. They want to get skating and everybody moving. When they're standing still, they don't like that. And their game, the man-on-man they play, and the pressure they want to play with, that means they're always skating and they're always moving. So it's predictable for them the way they play in their room. And now for us, we just got to come back and we make our adjustments, and then we figure out the way to beat them, really.
What's going through your mind when you see Akira pulled in the second?
It wasn't his fault in any of the goals, so I don't think it was necessarily. It was just more trying to get the team going, as the old saying goes. You just try to make a goaltending change just to shake things up, and again, it wasn't him. I don't think you can blame our goalies on any reasons for our losses or many goals against this whole playoffs. So, and for the most of the season. So the goaltending hasn't been an issue, and I think he'll bounce back.
Thank you, Sevy.